So it's a real pleasure to introduce our next speakers, Ryan and Brianne Cramer. And I'm going to be honest, this one's a little extra special to me because Ryan and Brianne are family. They also have their children, Eden and Reese, and Brianne's right there, so you can all give a wave. Wonderful family. I'm very proud to call them cousins and excited to have them here today to share their wonderful story with you. So together they run Big Marble Farms, which is Alberta's largest year-round greenhouse based in Medicine Hat. They've built something truly impressive, which is a business that's rooted in quality and in innovation and a very deep connection to their community. So Ryan, who you'll hear from in a second, has a large passion for growing and marketing and business, and Brianne brings just daily leadership to the operations of the greenhouse and the business, and together they have this, they've developed this shared vision that's all about feeding people very well. Their tagline, always growing, speaks to their ability to produce fresh vegetables 365 days a year, even in the dead of winter. So it's local food every season with Big Marble. So today they're going to talk about how storytelling and that consumer connection and staying true to their roots has helped them build something that's more than just a business, it's a brand that people trust. So please join me in welcoming Ryan Kramer and Brianne and Eden and Reese and the family to the stage.
All right, well, thanks, Brady, and thanks, everybody, for coming today. Really happy to be a part of this event. It's truly an honor to be here speaking to all of you. So as Brady said, my name is Ryan Cramer. I'm president of Big Marble Farms, a greenhouse operation in Medicine Hat, Alberta. If you've ever driven through Medicine Hat on the number 3, on the way to Lethbridge, you've probably seen our farm to the right. To fully understand what or who Big Marble Farms is, I need to take you back to the beginning. So in the early 80s, my dad was looking for a change from the dairy industry that he grew up in. Him and my mom had just married in their hometown of Thunder Bay, Ontario. And they saw opportunity in the West, so they moved from Thunder Bay to Medicine Hat, or more specifically, Redcliffe. Shortly after, they purchased their first greenhouse operation. So right from diapers, I was surrounded by the greenhouse industry. It was just a part of our lives. Like most farming operations, the greenhouse kept us close to home most of the time. Especially because in those early days, my dad had to do most of the work himself. He had help from one other worker, so I'm not sure what happened when that guy got sick, but I don't think he was allowed. My dad was always an innovative guy. He's always seeing opportunity to do things different. And this started very early with upgrading his greenhouse's manual windows to automatic windows. Story he tells me all the time, but until this point, everybody in the area, they'd have to open their windows on the greenhouse roof manually with a hand tool. So you can imagine how this would have gone. The wind changed, so you'd have to close the windows. And then the sun would come out and you'd have to open them back up. And the rain would move in, well, you kind of get the idea. Really kept him close to the operation. So he learned early on that automation was going to be the key to growth. Fast forward a few years, he moved us from Redcliffe to an acreage just outside of Medicine Hat, where he'd have the space to put up a larger greenhouse operation, and he wanted to be able to raise us in the country. I literally grew up in the greenhouse. I mean, this is where we went when there was no school, and this is where we spent most of our summer holidays. Picking cucumbers, pulling leaves, pulling old crops out, planting new ones. The one relief from plant work was the days that we got to mow about 20 acres of crested wheatgrass on the acreage. But it wasn't all bad. I mean, as kids, we got to go camping too, but I joke about it. Looking back, this was my training ground. I mean, this is where I learned everything that I know today. And this is what also made me fall in love with farming, even though I didn't know it back then. An important part of this story is the story of the Red Hat Co-op. So founded in 1966, the Red Hat was a group of Southern Alberta greenhouse growers who came together to grow, package, and market their produce together. Over the years, the amount of growers increased to almost 30 growers at its peak. Now, these growers expanded their operations over the years, but the expansions were relatively small back then. and no single grower was really much bigger than the next. Red Hat is a very important part of the industry in Alberta. It's always acted as more than just a central packing facility and a marketing agency. It's also acted as an advocacy group for our industry. And the message to the consumers has always been strong, always leveraging that grown close to home and showcasing who is growing your food. We've often shared images of the growers who were behind the scenes. But back to Big Marble and the Kramer family story. So during high school, a friend and I, we started building greenhouses. I felt like I needed a change from working in the plants, so didn't get very far though. So as a summer job, we would actually work for whoever was expanding that summer, and we'd build one or sometimes even two greenhouses per summer. After high school, we actually started doing this full time, and we actually started our own contracting company. And when we weren't building greenhouses, we were picking up contract work from growers who needed help. As I said earlier, the expansions in those days were a lot smaller than they are now. Usually around 40,000 to 65,000 square feet, which is about 1 to 1.5 acres. Around the time that I turned 21, I started to show interest in the family greenhouse business. So my dad, being the innovative guy he was and always thinking to the future, he purchased a piece of property with the vision of building a larger scale greenhouse operation. Him and my Uncle Rick started having conversations, and in 2008, the three of us, we started working on what would be known as County Fresh Farms, a 4-acre glass greenhouse with grow lights to grow long English and mini cucumbers. Now this was a big project for us. With previous projects in the area being less than half the size, and without lights, this was a huge step. I mean, we did a lot of other things too that hadn't been done in our area to date. We did all underground heating main lines. We did the grow lights. They were brand new to the industry at that time. And high-tech glass structures weren't really the norm. We also designed the system for this greenhouse, the heating and everything else, to go as big as 15 acres. And this was almost unheard of. I mean, there was a lot of people in our area that would have had us checked into the loony bin for dreaming this big. One day, all the chaos of this big project seemed to end and everybody left. All the contractors and everybody else, except for me. I was left to try to figure out how to run this new high-tech glass greenhouse with grow lights all on my own. Brand new computer system I'd never operated before, and grow lights were quite new to the industry at the time, so it was educational. Now, my dad and my uncle, they're the types that taught you how to swim by throwing you off the dock without a life jacket. And this is kind of how I was brought up, and I'm sure how many of you were. And this is how I learned everything that I know today. Now, even though I didn't do 4-H as a kid, my wife did, and she'll tell you that the 4-H motto is learning by doing. Or learn to do by doing, close. Which is exactly how I learned all that I know today regarding the greenhouse industry and business. So over the next couple years, we expanded our operation from 4 acres to 15 acres. And along the way, we experienced some of the farming realities, which involved a couple of different plant viruses that taught us a lot about hygiene. Before this, it was customary to clean your greenhouse once a year, but it never really got more thorough than removing the crop, sweeping the floor, and then putting a new crop in. But what the struggles with viruses taught us is that we needed to take this process a step further. So the process that we eventually adopted, and we still use to this day, is that we clean the greenhouse top to bottom, inside and out, at least once per year. And we'll do it twice if we have a virus outbreak. We also have an automatic roof washer that cleans the glass on the outside. And then we have a high volume glass washing system for the inside. And we wash everything. I mean, it's like hospital grade clean when we're done. In 2015, we started construction on a 20-acre expansion with a 110,000 square foot pack house. That project was completed in November of 2016. And this was and always will be my Mount Everest. It was a pivotal moment for our business. This is what put us on the path to becoming a grower marketer. All of a sudden, we were 35 acres. What started as 4. Now we fit in with the big boys now. Now, we were still smaller than the guys in Ontario, but man, we had 35 acres with lights. And this was a big deal back in 2016. Year-round production was really being pushed at that time by all of our retail partners. And we were answering that call. Now, if we weren't already on the map for building 15 acres of lit cucumbers, this really made us stick out. Around this time, we also started growing year-round tomatoes, expanding our offering from only cucumbers and mini cucumbers to tomatoes on the vine and beefsteak tomatoes as well. So during the planning for the big expansion in 2015, Red Hat's general manager, Lyle Ailman, passed away. Now, Lyle grew up in the industry as well, and he was the face and he was the vision of the Red Hat Group. All the growers, they were busy running their own businesses, so no one really had the time or the energy to focus on the marketing side of the business, so they left it in the capable hands of Lyle and the sales team. Now, without Lyle, the Red Hat was without representation from the grower in the marketplace. Now, we had a sales and marketing team, but we kind of lacked that ownership on the front line, and Lyle was able to bridge that gap. So while the cooperative model had worked over the years and served a very important purpose, I thought it was time and maybe necessary to evolve. So I started attending sales meetings with our major retail partners, and I quickly saw the need for direction in our market and from the presence of a grower on the front lines. So during the construction of our 20-acre project, we rebranded what was formerly County Fresh Farms to its current name, Big Marble Farms. We wanted a brand that was current, relevant, and that accurately portrayed who we are. Big Marble represents the planet Earth as seen from space. Might have been a couple of question marks out there. That answers that. And our business really focuses on sustainability right down to the name. Our main tagline, as Brady said, is always growing. Now, I've always felt that this has a threefold meaning. Our crops are literally growing 365 days of the year because of the lights. Our greenhouse footprint and team are continually getting bigger. And we're always constantly growing in our knowledge of the industry. Two of the other taglines that we use in our marketing are farming for the future, which is outlining how important family is, and it's our focus on the next generation. And Big Marble First, which is another sustainability call out. In every decision we make, we're always sure to put the big marble first. So the next part of our journey is getting the Big Marble brand into the store. Starting in Sobeys, as a small pilot, we saw the Big Marble Farms brand on the shelves in late 2016. Now, this was a proud moment for me. Building greenhouses and teams of people is an amazing feat. But this was different. Man, it gave me so much pride to see produce that I had grown with my name on it. I was hooked. So I set a goal to market all the produce that we would grow at Big Marble Farms as Big Marble Farms. As well as I set a bigger goal, I wanted to be able to market all the produce grown in Alberta as Big Marble Farms. So over the next few years, we were able to launch the brand in Costco, which was a huge step. I mean, Costco is a big deal account for us. So convincing Costco that Big Marble Farms was the future was monumental. And then eventually in 2020, we rebranded all produce grown by the Red Hat Group of growers as Big Marble Farms. Now this was well received. Now we had a fresh, modern brand that connected consumers to the farm and to the family who grows their produce. And it's not like the former brand of Red Hat didn't connect with the consumer. But as you just heard in the story, this cooperative lacked the direct connection from farmer to consumer. So there was an opportunity for us to market our passion for what we do. Whether you're a cooperative or a privately owned business, what we've found is that the key to being able to tell your story with a genuine love for what you do, I said that wrong, but the key is being able to tell your story with a genuine love for what you do. And isn't that at the foundation of why we're all in agriculture? As farmers, we choose this profession for the lifestyle and for the good that we do every day. We grow food. We feed the world. And it's hard work. I mean, it takes a special kind of person these days to get up early, to work hard with your hands all day, get dirty, and ride the emotional roller coaster ride that is farming. We watch crops suffer or herds suffer. We watch our crops or herds underproduce, or we yield too much, and we have to learn how to manage the excess. Sometimes I feel like we live in the in-between for only a few days a year. It's a ride. But what we do is an essential service. But it's a thankless job. We do all this behind the scenes. But I'm so proud to be a part of a greater community of farmers who truly are the backbone of this country. And I think it's more than just the farmers we need to be grateful for. It's organizations like AdFarm and Farm Voice, and all the other advocacy groups who work on getting the message out there to consumers, the message that your food isn't produced in the back of a grocery store. There's a family who's poured their heart and soul into the food that you eat. And still, our produce, our products, get quickly passed over for a bag of Doritos and a Coca-Cola. But that's not why we do it. At the end of the day, we do this because we love what we do. We love farming. We love the process of planting and watching our crops grow. And as much as we hate to admit it some days, we love the chaos. And we say this all the time. It's organized chaos at Big Marble Farms. A lot happens in an 8 to 9 hour shift. Almost 400 people harvest, pack thousands of cucumbers and tomatoes every single day, except for what we don't pack on Sundays. But we love the chaos. We love the process. And this is one of the ways that we connect with consumers. We share an inside look at our greenhouse operations, the process. More than that, we pull back the curtain far enough to show who we really are. Now, this is something I've thought a lot about over the years. Should we manufacture a story? Should we polish it so it looks better than the next person's? A fake persona that checks all the boxes? That doesn't sound authentic. It also doesn't sound like any fun. And that's the key. Fun. Someone once told me, if you can't have fun at work, why work? And this stuck with me. So I've always wanted Big Marble Farms to be an enjoyable place to work. A place that people talk highly of and even maybe look forward to going to work. So we put a lot of effort into creating a strong company culture. And I think this is so important. Before you can connect with consumers and tell your story, you want to make sure that you have a culture that people would want to be a part of. And then it becomes easy. So we have multiple company functions a year. We do an annual pancake breakfast around Medicine Hat Stampede in a couple weeks from now. We do a Christmas party for all of our employees. And our big event is our annual anniversary party. We get food trucks and axe-throwing bouncy castles. We do team-building games on our lawn in front of the greenhouse. And we don't have to ask anybody to pose for these pictures. I mean, they're genuinely happy to be a part of the Big Marble Farms family. So we've taken this all a step further by creating videos. We like to share these with those who are interested. We like to show them how much we love what we do and how much fun we have at work. Now, we recognize that it's only reaching a small audience. It isn't our intention to gain followers. But for those who tune in, we like to share a genuine look into who we are. I've always had a passion for video production. This goes far before my greenhouse days even. When we were teenagers, we liked riding dirt bikes. But we didn't just ride dirt bikes, we had to build massive jumps, and then we had to videotape everything we did. And it got a little out of hand at times, especially when the camera was out. But I really enjoyed making videos, and I wanted to be able to bring this creative gift that I was given to the marketing that we do. So we build videos. Not 15 reels a week, cramming your feed with multiple short videos of how a cucumber grows. No, we make epic videos. Epic videos of how, the process of how, oh, I lost my place. I was looking at the screen because it's not working. Oh, there's actually music. Okay, I didn't realize there was music at that point. Anyway, I thought there was no better way to close today's presentation than by showing a Big Marble video or three. So we'll get to that, but the visuals are worth 1,000 words, so in a couple of minutes we'll enjoy a few of our videos. Social media. Amazing tool for communication. We don't even scratch the surface. There's a few reasons for that. So I feel proud enough of our operations to pull back the curtain and show the world, but I'm not really a big fan of getting in people's faces too often. I don't know, I'm old-fashioned maybe, but it seems that in order for social media channels to grow in followers, that's what it takes, constant engagement. Now, the other reason I don't put a ton of emphasis on social media is that I feel that the benefit of growing our followers or getting likes doesn't really have a huge impact on generating more business in our industry. Every industry is different. And it might help, and I do agree that it's important, but our relationship with our retail partners is a much bigger focus for us than our social media presence. So the retail partners ultimately decide if our produce will be on their shelves or not, so we've kind of shifted our focus to them. And before we started making videos to share with the world, we actually were making videos to share with Loblaws and Costco and Sobeys, Co-op and Save-On. So we'd actually make them personalized videos, quarterly update videos to show that how the crops were growing, and we'd fill them in on all the different things that were happening around the farm. And we quickly got the reputation as the guys who make videos, and it was a huge hit. I was actually recognized at a massive Loblaws event in Halifax one time as the guy in the video, and he noticed me right away. It was really cool. So for the average consumer, we want to be able to share our story and show them who we are because we're proud of what we do, and we want people to see the process. We want to invite them to the party just because. So the other piece that I think is really important is community involvement. We're involved in a lot of different local programs, and we support a lot of functions through sponsorships, donations, and even physical help. We're proud to be able to make a difference in our community of Medicine Hat. And it's become known that Big Marble is a big supporter, and I'm very proud to be able to be. And this isn't to grow our business or sell more cucumbers and tomatoes, but it is a way to connect with the local consumer. So our local consumers see how we're much more than just a large employer or that greenhouse that lights up the sky. We have a desire to work with our community and to promote healthy lifestyle. So most of the events that we partner with are focused on this, bringing families together and healthy lifestyle. A few that are worth noting are the Medicine Hat Stampede, where we're one of the largest sponsors for that 4-day event. And not only do we sponsor the event, we actually have 2 tents set up where we educate people, and then we also sell produce, as well as our cucumber sparkling water, which is kind of a fun story, and we'll have a chance to enjoy some of that after this at the party across the street. At the Medicine Hat Stampede, we actually sell that water. We'd give it away, but we're not supposed to, so we sell it for cheap as a healthy alternative to all the sugary drinks and corn dogs. So we're also a main sponsor for an organization called Union Races. So they put on 4 events through the year, which brings families together to do kid-friendly marathons and bike rides. There's something for all ages, and it promotes a healthy lifestyle, which we're a big fan of. The biggest sponsorship that we're a part of in Medicine Hat is the Family Leisure Center. So we're the name sponsor on this complex. It's now called the Big Marble Go Center. If you haven't noticed, we like to come up with names that are a little different and outside the box. So they asked us to come out with that one, and everybody in Medicine Hat was confused for a long time, but it'll stick eventually. So this facility sees probably the most out-of-town traffic in Medicine Hat. Track meets, hockey tournaments, swim meets, football games, indoor soccer, and more. Tons of out-of-town people coming through there. Our community is close to our hearts, and we feel so blessed to be able to support all these amazing causes. So as for people knowing how their food is grown or raised, we're proud to share how Big Marble Farms is a sustainability success story. Now, greenhouse operations have come a long way. We've had to focus on efficiencies and sustainability to remain profitable. So for starters, we grow indoors, which means far less water lost to evaporation from being out in the elements. We capture all the water that falls on the glass, rain or snow, and it goes into a rainwater pond, and we eventually feed it to the plants. The inside of the glass also captures all the transpiration that collects against it, which also ends up in our rainwater pond. So a very efficient system. Our heating system is also very efficient. So we use our natural gas boilers to heat the water in all the various heating pipes in the greenhouse. And then we have a 7 million liter heat storage tank outside that we heat during the daylight hours. So when we're doing this, we feed the CO2 that the boilers make to the plants. And then we'll shut the boilers down at night, and we use the heat from the tank that we stored during the day. So when we do this, we're actually carbon neutral, and that's certain times of the year. There's times of the year, of course, where we have to run the boilers during the night, but in the shoulder months, we're actually able to be carbon neutral. We do our best to avoid the use of pesticides, at least the harsh ones. So we try our best to only use organic approved sprays only when we have to. The reason we're able to do this is because we use a biological program, or integrated pest management, IPM for short. It's good bugs eating bad bugs, and it's awesome. Every pest has a predator that we release to go after them and eliminate them. Some pests are harder than others to manage, but the IPM system is fascinating. Millions of new bugs come in every week from Holland in little shaker bottles, and we apply them where the ratio of good bugs is starting to get low, and they go to work. So we have a person in every single greenhouse, and that's their main job. It's just to look at the ratio of good bugs to bad bugs, and they're experts. I mean, these guys got like Hawkeyes, because their bugs are really tiny. The last big sustainability initiative that we have, and that we put a lot of focus on, is packaging. So while it's necessary to use plastic, it is. It's necessary in produce to use plastic, unless you're going to eat it same day. But we've worked on sourcing the best rated plastics and reducing wherever we can. We've recently developed, well, a couple years ago, but we've recently developed a cardboard alternative for some of our tomato packaging. We've received positive feedback for this, but it's been a little slow because it's more expensive to produce, of course, and also to package. It's difficult to be automated to fold these boxes, but consumers love it. It's the trouble is actually getting it past the main buyers, right? Because they just see that sticker price. What's next? What does the future look like in the greenhouse industry? Are we even going to connect with consumers in the future if our cucumbers and tomatoes are being harvested by robots and our businesses are run by AI and the delivery is done via drone to your front door? Now, I'm half joking, but the crazy thing is, most of what I just said is probably likely in the next 10 to 20 years, and maybe sooner. We know that the future is AI and robots. There's been a lot of work on robotics in greenhouses for years now, but it's a little slow to get going. But in this picture, you'll actually see there, that's a robot that picks tomatoes. And they've been working on this for a long time. No different than other farming operations, we've always been looking for ways to reduce costs. So we've recently invested in something that's pretty exciting. It's a sophisticated camera system that's mounted to a few of our crop work carts. So these systems they have multiple cameras, like I don't even know how many, but a lot of cameras, and they take hundreds of pictures a second. Then the information's all stored, and AI can use this info to help with things like production trends, disease outbreaks, pest pressure, and overall crop health. The tools that are coming are amazing. They're going to help us a lot, but it'll never entirely replace the need for humans. My personal view is that consumer connection is always going to be important. I believe that the average consumer wants to feel a connection to who grows their food. And this is becoming more and more important as people are more and more conscious of where their food is grown and how it's grown. It's an amazing industry to be a part of. People are always going to need to eat. We're so proud to be contributing to the effort to feed the people who call Big Marble their home. So now we'll check out a couple of our videos, so sit back, relax, and enjoy.
We have 6 of these water holding tanks, which are 400 liters.
Seeing the new transform from the old is always inspiring. In this greenhouse, we're harvesting long English mini cucumbers.
That wouldn't have gone in.
Thank you, Ryan, for that wonderful presentation. I must just say I'm always just blown away with the Big Marble Farm story and just the facility overall too. It's one of the coolest tours you can ever go on. I guess you had an inside look through all the videos, but maybe as we're opening up for questions and you can start putting your hands up and we'll get a mic to you. I just wanted to ask, I know you have so many people come through the greenhouse all the time on tours from from school groups to community leaders. Like, what would you say you're doing on a year or a month in terms of tours through the greenhouse?
Oh, man. So that's a great question. Shauna, you're there, right? Do you have an idea, Shauna, how many tours we do a year right now?
For school tours during the school months, we'll probably do about 4 school tours on average. Some is more. May is usually very busy.
And that's just the school one.
That's
So
just school,
yeah, I mean, we do tours for all of our retail partners. Each one of them comes through every year. I mean, we've had the premier through more than once. Yeah, there's so many different groups that do come through. Just happened to be that I knew Shauna was back there. So Shauna's our brand ambassador. She came up today from Medicine Hat with the treats that we're going to enjoy later, as well as a whole bunch of info that she can share with you. So seek Shauna out if you have any of those kind of questions. But she also conducts the tours, which is why I asked her that question.
Awesome. Well, sometimes you get some crazy cousins or aunts and uncles asking too, so for a tour. Okay, I'll open it up for questions from the floor. Just waiting to see the first
Brady,
hand.
there's
oh,
one
right there.
online.
Oh, one online? Okay.
Yeah. So Amy online would like to know, do you measure the nutrient density of your produce?
So we do nutrient testing on our produce from time to time. It's more of from the grower's perspective. He wants to understand, what's going in and how the plant health is overall. So he will measure the leaf density as well as the fruit nutrient density. But what we do on a more regular basis is we Brix test. So that's just the sugar content. And that's probably something we're more interested in, is the taste profile and the overall sugar content, which is measured by what's called a Brix meter, B-R-I-X.
Got a question over here in the middle.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very informative and also really inspiring. My question for you is, I'm just intrigued to know if you plant your plants using more of a hydroponic method or if you plant them in the soil, and why you choose to do that. And I would love to know kind of your thought process around fertilization with either of those methods.
So it's all hydroponic. So everything is grown in either coconut husk or rockwool. So rockwool is kind of like your insulation in your house. And the reason why we would choose rockwool is because it's 100% neutral. There's nothing in it. Our grower does prefer the coconut fiber, which comes from Sri Lanka, but it does come with some nutrients in it already. It's organic, but it does have potassium and sulfates and stuff. So he has to kind of deal with that, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a great system. It's nice because we can change out the soil every crop. And as we know, there's lots of history that goes through a crop. If we have, issues with fusarium or anything else that's waterborne, it can be difficult to sterilize the soil. So being able to swap it out every time just gives us a fresh start. That's the main reason.
We have another question online. So Jen online would like to know, can you comment on how the Grocery Retailer Code of Conduct will impact your business?
Can they elaborate? I know that's not easy online, but the Retail Code of Conduct.
I don't know.
I might be.
We can maybe come back to that
Okay,
one
we'll
because
come
I
back
saw
to
another
it.
hand on the right-hand side.
I should probably know that, but my marketing guy's not standing back there, is he?
Thanks so much for the presentation. I'm just curious how often you have to change out your plants. Like how often do you have to replant certain plants if there's disease, or even if they just aren't producing anymore? Like how many plants a year do you have to plant or go through?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Every different commodity is a little bit different. Tomatoes and peppers are really hardy plants, so they'll last a full growing year. Depending on if it's lit or if it's non-lit, we'll plant it at different times of the year, but it will last about 11 months, and then we take about a month to clean the greenhouse out. Cucumbers, not quite as hardy, so we have to replace them at least once a year. So long English cucumbers will grow between 2 and 3 crops, and then mini cucumbers they don't have much legs, so we'll grow 3 or 4 crops of them a year. Some guys, I've even heard guys grow up to 5 crops of mini cucumbers a year, but we want to try to reduce downtime, so we try to look for varieties in those different commodities that can last that kind of ideal duration.
Okay, I do have a second question for you. I would love, so in your second last video, I saw that you had some bees, and I would love to know your pollinator management plan and how you approach bees and pollination to your plants. I know that recently there's been a lot of struggles with bee farmers with varroa and mites, and so how do you manage that from, you know, a health to the bee, but also obviously a pollination perspective?
Yeah, the bees are amazing. They're the hardest workers in the room every day. So when we first get our tomato plants, they don't have any flowers on them, and the grower is carefully monitoring the first flowers. As soon as they come out, he starts adding hives. And that sounds so easy when I say it, right? But so the same company that we order all of our beneficial insects from, we also buy beehives from. And they specifically breed this bumblebee just for pollinating tomato plants. So it's very, I shouldn't say it's very docile, but it's a very friendly bee. It doesn't mind working alongside the people. And what happens is as the flowers start to come out and you start to see more and more flowers, the grower kind of has an idea on a ratio, how many flowers per square meter to how many bees he's going to need. So he's constantly putting in new hives, and we're watching it all the time. The hives actually have a door on it that we can close, so they can only come out and not, or sorry, only go back in and not come back out. So there's certain times where we actually will feed them sugar water and not let them come out if we're over-pollinating. So we're actually constantly watching the flowers, because if we over-pollinate, we have the same problem as if we don't pollinate at all, there won't be a tomato there. If your bees have issues, and the biggest issue you can have is if you use a chemical, which is why we stay away from chemicals, certain chemicals will actually wipe out your bees. And we know this is something we hear all the time in the news, right? But it's very real in our industry, so we have to be very careful. And if we wipe out the bees, we have to hand pollinate, and you have to be able to pollinate every flower twice a day. And it's like, forget about it. Like there's like 300,000 plants in the greenhouse, just one of those greenhouses. And the workers have to go along with either a vibrator on the string, or they have to shake the wires. And like, it's just crazy, crazy labor intensive. We have too many other jobs we have to do. So the bees are very valuable.
We got two questions over here.
Hey, thank you for the presentation. Through your videos, we saw that you are really using robots and autonomous technology, in your farms. And how important is it for you to use newer technologies, or how open are you to work with these newer camera vision and AI technologies?
Yeah, like I was saying at the end there, it's amazing what these new tools are going to offer us as far as just the advancements for what we're able to do. And the reduction of costs is probably one of our main focus, as is everybody that's running a business. But the access to the information. So we're very, very open to it. The barrier to entry on all this stuff has always been expense, so the cost side. Robots for picking are still just not feasible. So it's too new of technology. There's certain robotics for packaging and sorting and palletizing that work, and that's where we'll put our investment dollars for now. But the AI thing is exciting. I mean, the more information that we can have, the better, and the closer we can keep tabs on our crop, even when we're not there, the better. But we're still always going to need a person, always. No matter how smart a computer is, it can still never feel that. Like we can feel it. We walk in the greenhouse, we have more senses than a computer does. We can smell it and just feel it, and it's just different for a person.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a few more questions right here. We're doing okay for time. You good for another 3-4 questions?
Keep 'em coming.
Perfect. Okay.
I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but how do the Brix numbers compare on mini cucumbers versus like full-scale cucumbers?
They're definitely sweeter. It's a funny thing trying to Brix a cucumber. So when we talk about Brixing, it's definitely more peppers and tomatoes, because that's where you get your sweetness, right? We do Brix cucumbers, but I'm not sure that we've ever done that experiment, to be honest. So just a side note for anybody, that you probably won't get the chance to eat this, but a long English cucumber that's about half ready is the best. There's just something so sweet about that cucumber. Once they get to their full size, they're definitely waterier, and they're still good, but still buy them, please. But just a little tip there. If you ever do visit a greenhouse, and if it happens to be ours, great, and we'll definitely share that with you. But the small ones is the ones that we eat at home all the time. The mini cucumbers are sweeter generally, yes. So, but it's probably pretty marginal.
Right on. I saw Mackenzie and Matt as well. Yeah. Go ahead, Mackenzie.
So I have two sort of questions. My first question is on water. So you were talking about collecting the rainfall and the transpiration, but it's no secret that we haven't got a ton of rain the last few years. In times of drought, are you having issues with your water supply? Like, do you ever battle with your county, or what do you do?
So we haven't yet, and we did have, I mean, last year was pretty tight. They definitely scaled back in a big way, but we were still able to meet our demands. So we're on the St. Mary's Irrigation District where we are, and we have water holding ponds that hold enough water to get us through the winter. And then as soon as the irrigation opens back up again, we fill our ponds up. And we did have conversations with them last year, but I shouldn't say we're not even close, but we still have room to go, I should say. Like, it's not quite the same. And I think they look at the indoor agriculture slightly different. Like, we use far less water than a regular field. So no issues yet, but that is something we do talk about. That would be, yeah, pretty devastating for sure.
And then my follow-up is, what would you say is your biggest challenge and risk in like indoor hydroponic production?
So plant viruses are a tough one for sure, and we've learned a lot. I talked about hygiene, and we've learned a lot about how to manage them, but it's amazing how only a couple of weeks out can impact your bottom line. So if we have a virus come in and we have to pull a crop out, it's not the cost of the crop that hurts us, it's the downtime, right? Like, we've got to be empty, we've got to clean the greenhouse, and then we've got to wait. So a tomato plant from the propagator will come about 7 weeks old. We'll get that plant, it's about this tall. But then we've got to wait for like 9, 10 weeks before we see a tomato off of it. And that downtime is just a killer. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably our biggest threat. Water, I would say what you brought up there, that's a good one. If we were to ever have issues, natural gas and utility rates are probably something we look very closely at. Infrastructure costs across Alberta, somebody's going to have to pay for all the stuff that they've been building. So, and the talk of green, there's concern there, for sure. You know, if we were to see utility rates go up, we rely heavily on electricity, as you can see with the lights. We have at our site, you know, I didn't get into too many details, but we have, probably between 30 and 40,000 lights. I'm starting to lose track, and I'd be able to do the math, but we talked about this earlier. You said no math. So, yeah, but we pull so close to 30 megawatts of power, so it's significant. Yeah.
Okay, we've got Matt with a question, I believe, and then we'll take one more from the top there.
What fruit or vegetable crop is next for Big Marble Farms, or is an opportunity for another Alberta producer?
For us, probably more tomatoes. We see, you know, I go around any grocery store in Alberta and I look at the shelves, and if I see out of province, out of country stuff, I just see opportunity. And we want to be able to displace that and put Alberta product on the shelves. And tomatoes is probably the space that we see the most need. We produce a fair amount of tomatoes, but relative to the amount of tomatoes being consumed by Albertans, we got a lot of room. But the fun one that we wanted to play with, and I think we've been a little bit intimidated by, is the soft fruit. So strawberries, they've been being done in greenhouses for a number of years now, but raspberries and blackberries are also being done, smaller scale, but I've always wanted to try it, even if it is just on a smaller scale, just to kind of see where that goes. And to be honest, from a personal perspective, selfishly, I just wanted so that we could have good berries to eat at home, because berries are expensive. So.
Right on. Just in the middle, we'll have our final question there.
I don't believe you market your produce as organic, do you?
No, we have a small, we had a small organic line for a while with long English cucumbers, but sorry, finish your question.
Well, you know my question, why or why not?
So my personal view on the way that we grow our crops hydroponically, and like I talked about earlier, we actually really try hard not to use synthetic and like harsh chemicals. First of all, it hurts the bees and all of the biological insects that we invest literally thousands and thousands of dollars on, right? And like for me, it's a personal thing as well. Like we actually buy organic berries because from a berry perspective, we really believe that that's important. But in our greenhouse, we actually limit the amount of spraying with pesticides to almost zero. And personally, I get, you know, you guys, anybody here could have a conversation with me about this after the show here, but I believe that's the most dangerous component of conventional farming is the pesticide usage, okay? That's my personal thought. So synthetic fertilizers aren't the issue. Like, to me, growing in the organic soil and the whole fertilizer and using manure and everything like that is complicated, and the benefit to me isn't quite as big as the reduction of pesticides, which we're already doing. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Now, there's a return benefit, but it's not as big as it used to be as well. And that's maybe a little bit why I haven't jumped into it yet. But there's a need. It's something that we're interested in, but they've made it harder, just in the sense that like retail has taken that organic price and they've squeezed it down. So it's not quite as attractive as it used to be. I still believe in it though, by the way, like I really do. I really value the organic programs that most farmers are working on, and I think it's excellent. But I guess I actually believe that what we're doing at our farm is so close that, I mean, it's as safe as it can get.
Awesome. Well, that was a great Q&A session. Can we put our hands together one more time for Ryan and Big Marble Farms?